is a tired face. Anyway, you guys, I have some really cool things that I want to talk about. So let's just rip right into it. And I want to first start out with speaking of just talking about energy and different energy systems. I'm going to talk about 3 different energy systems. One energy system, and actually before we get started, what I'm going to do is make and give all credit to this talk to Michael Neal. He's just absolute genius speaker, and I heard him speaking, and I heard him use these analogies, so I cannot take any of the credit for these analogies. These are his analogies, and they're just so beautiful. But I want to just go ahead and just break it down and just kind of talk about it, because it's pretty powerful. Okay, so two places to start. First, I want you to think of a cell phone, and I want you to think of your cell phone when you have a lot of apps open. So if you have a lot of apps on your phone open, what'll happen is your battery will drain like super fast, right? And if you go in and you shut down those apps, you know, you swipe, what'll happen when you do that is you'll be able to save your battery life. You can extend your battery life. So remember that analogy, because we're going to use that in a second, okay? Second is, if you were in a I think they call them they're I think Prius. What is going on with my car right now? My car's kind of feeling funny. With like a Prius or an electric car, I guess, I don't have one, but I guess what happens is it'll use gas for a certain percentage, and it'll switch over to the electric part. And but I guess what you get to see when you're driving it is when it switches over, and like when you're going on electricity and when you're going on gas. And I guess it's pretty powerful if you're a driver, because it's kind of cool to be able to know, oh, this is when I use more gas, or this is when I'm able to like save money and use more electricity. So just remember those 2 examples, because what we're going to try to do in example 1 in our lives is we're going to try to figure out how can we, oh my gosh, it's such a cool car right there. We're going to try to figure out how can we save, our energy system so that we are operating on that really efficient cell phone. So how can we maintain all of our quote unquote apps, right, in our body, in our mind, in our, that is just, oh, that's why that's not doing that. Okay, now I have this little thing, foul. Okay, anyway, you guys don't care about that. So anyway, we want to figure out how we can maximize just our volition, our intensity, our motivation, our inspiration, all of these things. So what I heard him talking, you know, kind of breaking down, he used those 2 examples, and it was pretty powerful for me, because I'm like, oh, okay. So if you think of just pure volition and pure physicality of your body, you know, calories in, calories out, cardio, respiratory, lifting weights, getting good nutrition in, all of those things are going to account for your physicality. So those are going to be hard set energy systems that they are going to expire. So like your cell phone, when you use those up, and then you're going to have to renew them. So you have to recharge them on a battery. You have to recharge them so that you can be up and running again, okay? Now, after you have the physical, so there's three parts of our body. We have the physical body, and then, so we're just gonna throw in cardio, respiratory, lean muscle tissue. We're gonna throw in all that stuff in that. The second area that I want to talk to you guys about is motivation. And motivation is like, you know, the Navy SEAL team that can just go, an Olympic marathoner, a CrossFitter, any kind of activity that you've done in your life. If you've ever done martial arts belt testing, you're gonna be pushed beyond what you think you can do. You're gonna wanna, like, I don't know if you've seen the YouTube video, but it's about a guy who's like, you're gonna have to wanna fight more than you're gonna wanna breathe. So it's like the guy is like underwater, and it's like, that's how you're gonna have to bring that fight to your sport, right? But even with that, there is a limit with that, because you only have, at some point your body's gonna break down, at some point your body's gonna give up, right? There is a point. You know, we're not bionic, you know, we're not the Bionic Man, we're not Wonder Woman, we're not a superhero. I mean, we do break down. Even superheroes break down. Like in movies and stuff, you see that they break down. So there's a limit, okay? So we've got we've got just the physical body, and then we've got more kind of the spiritual, the motivation behind the body. But those two have limits. So using the cell phone analogy, your phone has to be recharged every night. It's the same thing with your body. It's that same, I want you to kind of keep thinking that the same way. So like what I feel right now, like when I got in my car and I was like, blah, right? I am physically training and teaching so much, and also my motivation, you know, in when I'm in each one of these classes, like pushing my students, it's gonna have a limit. But number 3, the cool thing about number 3 is that in number 3, he calls it, I think he uses the word spiritual energy. I think that's what he calls it, spirit energy. He doesn't say spiritual, he says spirit. But in my mind, I was just kind of like, and then he talks about it as being inspiring. So he says spiritual energy, spirit energy is analogous to inspiration. So what was really cool is that as he was speaking, I was trying to delineate the difference between motivation and inspiration, because I kind of think if someone is motivating, they're inspiring. But he's delineating motivation as something that's still going to have a limit. And it's funny because I'm so glad there's a truck that keeps following me. It gives me a nice little spotlight, right? But inspiration, so motivation is always going to have a limit. And, you know, sometimes you kind of, if you've ever heard yourself say, oh, you know, I don't have the motivation, or I'm lacking motivation, etc., etc. I've heard that before, right? Sometimes I even feel that. I've even thought that. But with inspiration, he says it never expires. It is a limitless source of energy. And he said you can access it at any time. So, you know, like sometimes we'll go back to your cell phones. He didn't say this, but I thought about this. Like, how many times are you on your cell phone and you are like on a 4G network or whatever, or it says 4G, or it'll say LLT, but when you're in your house with internet, you see that full fan, and you know when you've got that full fan, you're not going to be paying for that, right? You know, I mean, you pay for it, but you don't really, you know what I mean? It's not like it doesn't get counted against you. Well, so that's what we want to do in life. We want to be able to figure out activities, situations, and we want to put ourselves where we are going to be on full Wi-Fi, where our fan is going to be out, and we're going to be absorbing every piece of spirit energy that we can possibly handle, right? So that's what this vlog is about, is how can you access that spirit energy. And what was really beautiful about what he was saying is you can access it at any time. It doesn't have, like, to use a quantum physics term, like, it doesn't have like a drag on it, like a universal drag. You know how the earth, when it's spinning, they're finding right now that it has a drag on it. It doesn't have drag. So what I thought was really super cool about this whole situation is I was like, wow, yeah. Now this is going to be all my thoughts here. So these are my thoughts with what he said. Because what I thought with the whole spirit thing is, like, because I'm a Christian, I have really strong faith. And I thought, you know what? He is so right What's great about him is he's not like a religious person, so I love how he doesn't necessarily negate other people, and I'm so sorry if I do that. The only reason I do that is I can only speak from who I am and what I believe, like what my belief systems are. But my belief systems are, I believe in God, right? So I was like, wow, you know what? I'm gonna turn that third energy up. Oh man, there's so much glass I just ran over. It's like shattered glass there. What I'm gonna do my best in is I'm really gonna try in the very best of my ability that I can to really identify when I'm feeling Okay, so you guys, I'm probably gonna have to finish this, but I'll just try to finish this really quick. They found black mold in our house, so that was my the management company trying to figure out how they need to remove the black mold, and they need to get a dishwasher in there. So sorry about that. But anyway, you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna try to spend a little bit more time on this vlog because I think it's pretty important. I might have a part 2 on this vlog, but the bottom line is, you guys, when put a little light on here, when you're going through your day and your life, I want you to just ask yourself, what if I had no choice in this? What if everything I worry about, and everything that I think about, everything that I'm stressing about, what if there's absolutely that energy's going nowhere? And what if all that stress and all that worry and all that is just draining those first 2 energy systems? And instead, why don't we try to play an energy system number 3 in that spirit, in that inspirational place? And if you are not a Christian, listen, let me just talk to you. Just try to find those things that you get inspiration from or by. So you might want to, try that, see how that feels for you. But by being inspired, those are just activities and things. What inspires you? What feels good to you? What is inspiring music? What is, maybe it's no music. Maybe it's being in complete, quietness and just allowing different energy to come and speak to you. And one of the things that he does talk about, and he's talked about this in other aspects, is to find inspiration, you need to almost quiet those voices down. So the voices in your head, those are called thoughts, right? We all have those thoughts. But one of the things that he's always kind of challenging the people that read his work is just ask yourself all of that stuff. And I've actually heard this before. He doesn't say this. I heard this before. Some other speaker, I can't remember who it was that said this. Maybe it was Wayne Dyer. It was someone who I really respected. Said something like, I want you to write down everything you worry about. Like the counselor had told him, write down everything you worry about. So he wrote down everything like for 5 days. And so then he brought it in, and the counselor said, okay, go ahead and tell me all those things that you worried about. So the guy was like sharing all the things that, all the things that he worried about. And then the counselor asked him, okay, how many of those things came true? Or yeah, how many of those things came true? And the participant was like, none of them. Maybe it was like 1 or 2. The counselor asked him to do it the next week. Anyway, this went on for like 2 or 3 weeks. And same thing, every week it was the same answer. So ask yourself, like in life, like all of these things that we worry about, we think about, even gossip, even watching, like, for me, I love The Housewives, but even like sometimes after I watch that, I feel kind of defeated. So just ask yourself, like, what energy system are you running off? Like right now, I'm going to go into class. I'm going to be inspiring, teaching, rah, 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 rah. But one of the things I'm going to do as an instructor is I'm going to try to change that energy system from motivation to inspiration, to just being in the moment, being present with my students, but allowing them to find inspiration. So that might mean not talking all the time, and that might mean allowing them to kind of find their flow. So I'll let you know kind of how things go, but I'm super, super jazzed, super excited. You guys, I love this chapstick. It's like, if you're a chapstick nutty, can you see that? I don't know if you can see it, but this is from my monthly box that my husband gets me that I do these reviews on. It's so nice. I love it. It smells like grapefruit. It's like yummy and delicious. Anyway, you guys, I'm running in to teach. I love you. Stand in your light, stand in your truth, and above all else, what? Be a warrior. I love you guys. Take care. Bye. Mwah.